We've come into the month of Kislev, a time when we're bringing light into the darkness. You are the light in this darkness. So continuing with this experience of leadership, I invite you to close your eyes and reconnect to that moment in your life when you experienced being fully guided. And the beauty of that. And a moment in your life when you embodied the quality of malchut, of leadership in this world. And place your hand upon your heart. And feel the rise and fall of your chest. As the Holy One, blessed be He, breathes life into you. Feel how effortless that is. Every bit of oxygen is a molecule of love. And every beat of your heart under your hand is a reverberation of love. By placing your hand on your heart and placing your mind's eye on your heart, you begin to make harmonious music between your heart and your mind. Simply by imagining and connecting to one of the creative emotions of the heart. So I want you to connect to one more memory. A memory when you were filled with laughter. Like the laughter of Yitzchak Avinu's birth. A laughter of surprise and wonder. And play out that memory as if it's happening right now. With its colors and textures and rich experience. Where are you? Who are you with? Allow that laughter to fill your heart and find its way onto your lips. And onto your face. As you imagine the sound of your laughter in this memory. Because if you go back in time, early in Avram Avinu and Sarai Menu's marriage, we don't know exactly when that was, but we can assume it was many decades before they were 100 years old. And be there with them, the laughter and joy of their wedding day, with the hope that they would bring children in the world, and feel the emptiness of year and year after year of no children. Till they've come well beyond the years of menopause. And lo and behold, Abraham hears a whisper. That he will give birth to a great nation. And feel the laugh of that, the absurdity of that. But also it's a promise of the Holy One. So there's a hopefulness in that too. And yet year after year after year, that promise continues to stay unfulfilled. And whether you are a man or a woman, allow yourself to connect to your womb. Feel how empty it is on the inside. Of month after month, hope after hope and prayer after prayer, bearing no fruit. And 25 years pass. And you hear a promise again, that in a year's time you will bear a son. And feel the laughter of the absurdity and the hopefulness in that. And see that womb growing and growing and growing until, lo and behold, now you have a reason to laugh for real. And watch this son rise to be a great leader who follows in his father's footsteps. Who meets Rivka, a beautiful woman. But they too are barren. And feel yourself standing in the corner, month after month, prayer after prayer, hoping for the child that will build the nation that you've been promised. And seeing no fruit. Until one day you feel this womb growing and growing and growing. And you know that your prayers are not for nothing. They are bearing the two greatest nations the world has ever known. And these two nations are battling inside of your womb for who is going to rule the world. You turn to God and you say, what on earth is happening inside of me? After all of this prayer, why am I suffering with such a turmoil inside of me? And you are given yet another promise of these two nations. And that eventually the younger would come to rule over the older one. That the one who dwells in the tent, the one who embodies the feminine quality that we're all embodying right now, of the beautiful being, being with the divine in stillness, would eventually come to rule over he who is doing and itching to conquer everything and everyone. And allow your consciousness now to flow into Yaakov, knowing that in the presence of this doer, you must act and act wisely in order for your energy in the world to rise. And I invite you as Yaakov to see into the future. Over 3,000 years into the future, when the great nation that you've birthed is seeking to bring the light of love, goodness, beauty, and divinity into the world. And yet there is so much pressure from the rulers of Esav. Is your brother. See Esav sitting in front of you just like you saw your partner sitting in front of you. And imagine yourself looking into his eyes. You tricked him once. You broke his heart. You made him lose the blessing he so much sought from his father. Look at him and feel this pain. In your own way, find a way to say, I'm sorry. I love you. Remember that Esav's descendants brought Torah to the entire planet. They brought this idea of the one and only God to the entire planet. It's not perfect. But it is precious. But it is time for the younger brother to rule over the older brother. Not because he's more powerful, and not because he's more sneaky, but because he is the teacher, the humble priest, the Rodef Shalom, the one who chases after peace and brings light into the world. We are all hungry for that kind of leadership. For the kind of leadership that teaches compassion and love and light and truth with clarity and with strength. Feel within you all of that light. Feel within you, you caring for Esav because you love him, because he's your brother. And we can invite Esav to shift from being face to face with us to joining our circle. And we can invite some of the greatest leaders of the Jewish people to also join our circle. Moshe Rabbeinu, who led us out of the darkest exile into the greatest light. And his student, Yehoshua ben Nun, who got us started on conquering the land of Israel. And David HaMelech, King David, and his son Shlomo, who ruled the Jewish people with a deep connection to Torah and to the divinity, and with malchut and splendor and grace. And to all of the great scholars and rabbis and teachers, to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who believed in the capacity of every single Jew to lead this world. And he believed in you, that you could be an emissary of Torah and of light and of goodness to everyone you touch. I invite them all to join our circle as we imagine that in the midst of our circle, sit the people who have currently been positioned to lead us. Our leaders of government and leaders of military, leaders of Torah, with all of their goodness and all of their imperfections. Positions they are in are neither simple nor easy. The pressure they face is enormous. Can you see in them the light that they carry inside? Can you love them like a parent would love a child? Can you thank them for taking a role you might not have the courage or the strength to step into? Because Abraham and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka, and Yaakov and Rachel and Leah, they didn't struggle to have children for no reason. It was so that they could infuse every child they brought into the world with a tremendous amount of light, so that they could create the greatest nation the world has ever known. For us to do that, we first have to believe in ourselves and in each other. So I invite you to hold your hands together and very slowly rub them together. And as you do so, I want you to connect to the leader in you, to the follower in you, to the laughter in you, to the healer in you. And slowly bring your hands apart. Very slowly, and feel the magnetic pull between your hands. This is the light that you have the capacity to bring into the world. As a priest of the world, as a Jew. and use these hands to bless. So I invite you to turn your hands outwards towards the center of the circle. And to imagine the crown of your head opening the way it was wide open when you were a baby. And see a stream of light coming in through the crown of your head. This is the light of Malchut. The King of Kings is giving you a taste. But of course, the taste of his light is a flood for us. So allow all of that light to wash over you. See that light turning into royal garbs. And feel the royalty of who you are as a ben or bat melech, as a daughter or son of the king. And sit a little taller, hold your head up a little straighter. If you knew that you were the son or daughter of the king, how much light would you allow to come into you? Open yourself up to that. Feel your torso opening wider as your heart is flooded with the light of the divine. The light of your rightful place in this world as a leader of the world. And because you are a shaliach, an emissary of God's light into the world, you have the capacity to transfer that light onto those who need it. So as that light is coming in through the crown of your head and filling your heart, allow it to burst out of your heart and pass through your arms and out of your hands and on to the leaders of the Jewish people who sit in our midst. Feel that light bursting out of your palms. And if you imagine it is so, it is so. Onto the war cabinet, to the entire Knesset, everyone in government, the leaders of the military, every soldier, every leader in Torah, every leader in Am Yisrael, which at the end of the day is all of us because we are all leaders. Infuse them with that same light of Malchut and see them sitting taller. See them having more courage and strength. Feel them connected to the truth and the purpose for which they were put on this planet. And see their crowns opening up and pure light coming in from above their crowns and flooding their bodies as well, so that they are not just surrounded by your light and infused by your light, but have direct access to divine light. And take a moment in your own words, in a whisper, to bless them. And together we're going to imagine we're placing our hands above their heads. Bless them as if they are your children. Do that together now. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Now that your hands are filled with light and love, bring them back ever so gently to your heart. Bless yourself with courage. That in the midst of all of this darkness, you should continue to be a source of light and of love and of truth. And be compassionate towards yourself. Because leadership in this world is not an easy thing. And just feel your hands against your heart. And allow yourself to breathe that in ever so gently and sweetly. On behalf of the entire Jewish people, thank you. Thank you for your presence and your light. Thank you for being you. Slowly, we're going to wiggle our fingers and wiggle our toes and come back into our bodies. And when you're ready, you can bat your eyes open. Just begin to connect to the light and the shadow in this room. I'm going to say goodbye to the Zoom Chevra. Thank you for your presence. We're going to end the call now.